Welcome, welcome. Today we focus on dysfunctional families and we are going to discuss relationships with parents. This is a very touchy topic, but one that is very, very important because there's a lot of struggle in relationships where our parents are concerned. It's easier to create boundaries and even call what is right or wrong with our friends, with our intimate partners. But with parents, it becomes very difficult because there's a way people perceive relationships with parents. I believe every relationship needs proper boundaries for it to thrive. But it is not possible to create boundaries when you're not sure if what you're creating boundaries around is healthy or it is not healthy. How can you tell that relationship that you have with your parents is healthy or not? Number one, when your parents do not take responsibility for their own life, and it becomes your responsibility to take care of their own lives. I'm aware that from time to time, parents struggle with their own lives, and depending with where you come from, it is logical to help them, but I also believe that this help needs to be within limits. I have cases where, say for example, a parent is going to be receiving financial help from their own children, and they will use this money as they please to do everything that they want, even things that are not very important. And after a week, a parent is going to be calling you saying, we do not have food. And you're asking, but there's some money I sent this and this time. And the parent says, but we just don't have money for food. So it is up to you to ensure, or you will choose if your parents are going to stay without food. And so they stop taking responsibility, because if you're giving them any financial help, they need to take care of their own basics first. But when they neglect themselves and they depend on you, in other circumstances, parents are actually able to take care of some needs. Like they can move themselves to hospital, but they simply put a halt to their life and say, you've got to come and pick us and take us to hospital, when they ideally can do that. In other cases, it's simply things that they can do, like having to hire someone to come and do some chores for them, but they put those ones on hold and make it your business to hire and oversee the person that is working for them. When parents fail to take responsibility for their own lives and they depend on you as a child, then that relationship with your parents is very, very unhealthy. Again, if you have one or two parents who share their pain with you, you're their confidant, you're the only person they can take their pain to, you're the only person they can tell when they are struggling, you're the only person they can tell when they are conflicting with their other parents. A good example is when a mother has to talk to you every other time they conflict with the husband. When a father has to reach out to you every other time they are in conflict with the wife. Then that tells you the relationship that you have with your parents is very, very unhealthy. What does that do? It gets you divided between, do you support your mom or do you support your dad? When you find yourself in that space of, is it true that mom is being unfair to dad, or is it true that dad is being unfair to mom? Is it true that I need to really come to mom's side to protect them? Then you're already having a very unhealthy relationship with one or both of your parents. The third indicator that you have a very unhealthy relationship with your parents is when you are their only friend. So that every good success, every thought, every ambition, every goal, they have to reach out to you to share with you. In this case, you end up becoming the person who supports them emotionally, and you can be in a space of an emotional spouse where you're the one they share their deepest secrets with, you're the one they share their joys, you're the one they share their sorrows, you're the one they tell what is happening to them, you're constantly in that space of feeling that if you're not having time to listen, or if you're in a fix yourself, you need to constantly be there for your parent, because without that, then they will not have another friend. So anytime that people tell me that my best friend, the one I talk to, the one I tell everything, is my parent, I worry. Because also when the parent says that my best friend, the one that I talk to and I tell everything, is my child, again, I find that very concerning, because it means that you are protecting your child to have social support from other people, while you yourself, you are making them an emotional spouse, someone who ideally what a spouse would do, be there, listen, hear you out, listen to the things that you share, to the joys that you have, to the sorrows that you go through every single day. And that is a role overload for a child. If you're in that space where your parent is your best friend, you are their best friend, and both of you have no other person to talk to, you have a very unhealthy relationship with your parent. The fourth indicator that you're having a very unhealthy relationship with your parent is when your parent does so much for you, but they neglect themselves. I have met parents who have adult children, but when they get their salary, say their salary is 100,000, then 80,000 is sent to their child, and they are basically only left with rent. That is if they are renting. That's just an example. So you realize that they are giving the child so much, but they neglect themselves. So in this case, what they are teaching their child is, I am not important and you are the most important thing in this world. What that does is, over a period of time, it makes the child also not see your worth, because no one can treat you the way you do not treat yourself. So again, if your parent is constantly thinking about you and doing so little for themselves, it's not because they love you so much. It's because they have a very unhealthy relationship with you, and that does not benefit them, and it also does not benefit you. Pointer number 5. There are parents, again, who let the community drain them. I've met people who constantly say that people in the community bother me. They come to me for food. They come to me for advice. They come to me for everything. They are actually using me. But the parent is not able to create their own boundaries. They continue to allow the community to violate them in terms of the things they allow and in terms of the decisions they make for others. But once they do these things and they are completely drained, they constantly come to their children to rescue them. So if your parents are doing everything for everyone, and you have become the sponge that they come to release their tension, their pain, their hurt to, and you keep taking it in, and you keep hating their relatives, and you keep hating the community members, and you keep hating the people around your parents for stressing your parents, the issue is not the people around them. The issue is your parents have a boundary issue, and the people around them simply push the boundary. And once they continue to push and their needs are met, they learn that they can push further. So if you notice that the pain of violated boundaries that your parents have allowed others to violate is always released on you, it is just a matter of time, and it is going to be unbearable. You can choose to help your parents to create boundaries. If you cannot help them, then you can as well seek help for them so that they learn to create their own boundaries. That way, you will not be suffering the pain that other people have caused in your parents' life. There's another very common one that I see, and this is when parents continually manipulate their children to take care of them. If you feel your parent manipulates you, they begin to threaten you. They are constantly telling you how you're going to be cast, even constantly telling you how if you do not take care of them, then you will not get the blessings. If they are constantly telling you how your life is not going to make sense, or you're not going to grow, you're not going to become something because simply you are not taking care of them, then your parents are manipulative towards you. Notice, I am not saying that a child should not take care of the parents. I am a believer of, as a child or as a human being, it is important to give back in some form of way. I am also a believer of giving back to the level that you are at. So when you give and your parent feels like, no, you cannot be sending me this amount, you cannot be making me live in this house, I want to live a more luxurious life because you are my child and you can afford it. I want to travel far and wide because I believe it's your responsibility to finance my luxury. Then that is the kind of manipulation I am talking about. If your parents are constantly manipulating you into making them live a luxurious life in your account, and when you do not, when you create a boundary and say, I cannot afford this, this is what I can afford, then they guilt trip you, they threaten with curses, they threaten with unproductive life, they threaten with lack of blessings, then that is a very unhealthy relationship that you have with your parents. The last pointer is when they use their struggles to make everyone around them serve them. I don't know if you have experienced parents, even if that not be your parent, who, when they are struggling with an illness, they will make every single child send them money to go to hospital. They are going to a local hospital where they know the highest it can be, say, is 10,000, and they ask every one of the children to send them 10,000 for the medical need. This is a parent using their struggle to get unhealthy power. What this does is it drains the children as they struggle to meet the need of the parent, but the parent is using their power to get everything they need from their children. I've also had cases where the parent is going to say, contribute to my chama, to my merry-go-round, or to some community venture, whatever it is, and they ask all the children to send the same kind of help. What this does is the child remains powerful and they continue to torture the children, or they continue to make the children struggle trying to meet their own needs. So when a parent, and some parents do this, when a parent uses old age, then they keep saying, wait until you're older, then you're going to understand the struggles of old people. I do appreciate that age comes with its own struggles. That is a fact. However, some of the struggles that are being mentioned are completely unrelated to old age, where a parent does not want to literally do anything even when they are not incapacitated, and they want every single thing done by them. Setups I have experienced where a parent will need every single child to come every single day to serve them simply because they are growing older, and they do not have body incapacities. Simply because they are growing older, they feel that everyone needs to be at their beck and call. Now, this is a very unhealthy relationship with your parents. You need to be there for your parents when you can be there for your parents, and this does not stop your life from moving. It does not need to stop you making progress as an individual. However, in cases where your parents are rightfully incapacitated or struggling, and you cannot be there for them, it is okay to discuss options so that you can be able to support them, whether you are present or someone else will be present. At the end of this discussion, always realize that taking care of our parents is part of giving back to community. And I believe that every healthy individual feels the need to care for other people in a certain level. So this is not a discussion to say do not be there for your parents. It simply is a discussion to help us realize that when we are crossing boundaries, then we are going to live in a hard space simply because we are not acknowledging that the relationship we have with our parents is unhealthy. When we acknowledge it is unhealthy, then it helps us to be able to create strategies on how to create a healthy relationship with our parents.